Yeah, yeah. And really what you're seeing now, you remember almost half of our House representatives was new people this
Right.
last time. And it was a quick learning, quick session, and now all of a sudden they're getting a little more independence. They aren't just kissing up to leadership
Right.
or those who brought them there. Now you're starting to see them reach out. You're seeing some crazy bills.
Such as.
Oh gosh.
Let's talk about some of this madness coming up.
Okay, well, I'll let you go first. You're the guest in this studio.
Okay. Well, before I circle back to my favorite, the various gun things.
Yeah.
We're looking at two separate bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, to raise the minimum wage in Oklahoma.
So employer can't do that?
Well, of course they can. Of course they can pay someone more, but
it's better to have central planning of
right. We should
central
have
government.
We should have central planning. We should have top down dictation, and we should also not do anything for servers and those who have tips factored into their income.
Wow.
Because neither of the one from Senator Young, or I can't remember the state representative what her name was, but neither one of those addresses the issue of service workers.
So, I'm self-employed. Could I get the legislature to give me a raise?
Raise your minimum wage? Yeah. Well, how much do you pay yourself per hour?
Well, I need government to force me to pay myself more.
Because you don't want to pay yourself more on your own.
Yeah, right, because you know how us employers are.
Or as a self-employed person, if you want to run a more streamlined, efficient operation and pay yourself less and have more money to go into the business, well, you wouldn't be able to do that because that would be less than the minimum.
Oh yeah, my goodness. All right, so that's one of the bills. My turn. Dave Bullard, freshman senator.
Okay.
He's got a couple of doozies. I'll go one first. You give blood, and they think that because you gave blood, your employer gets $20 off of his state taxes. Not you, not your employer.
Yes, employer. I am familiar with this one, and that is a head scratcher.
Yes, and that money comes from all of us, the rest of us poor and just barely getting along folks, having to pay more in our grocery taxes to pay some employers $20 for every donation. You talk about sucking your employees' blood dry.
So if I go to the Red Cross blood drive, I'm assuming it has to be centralized, and there's going to be record keeping that will be turned into the state.
It has to be an Oklahoma blood bank. Right now there are two big ones.
Okay, so
but I can guarantee you there's going to be hundreds of them if this bill passes.
It'll proliferate. Yeah. All right, so you go to the Oklahoma blood bank, and they'll have a form for you to fill out. Mm-hmm. And what happens if you don't want to list who your employer is?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you going to be fined or imprisoned for this?
Yeah. I mean, this is pandering. This is just horrible.
And then what happens when employers are going to start forcing their employees en masse to just give blood repeatedly?
Oh, yeah. Or, you didn't meet quota. You're out of here.
Right,
I need a fresh, healthy, young thing. Yeah.
It's like something from a vampire science fiction movie where they're just keeping us as cattle.
Exactly. So, all right. So we got that. What do you got?
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Well, there's the, I can't remember which one it is, but, Jason Dunnington.
What's he got?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, he has a few doozies.
He does have some doozies.
Some of them.
Well, the first one is the standard capacity magazine bans.
Okay.
That goes along with this list of 40-something specific firearms and weapons that he wants to ban in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just about every civilized nation in the last 100 years has banned child castration. It used to be something the Catholic Church had their castratos, their boys' choir, that if you castrate a young boy before he hits puberty, he'll always have that rich soprano voice. Well, that's considered to be inhumane. However, we have advocates in our legislature for
I'm sitting down for this
child castration if they want to change to be transgendered all the way over to the other.
Oh yeah,
other
yes,
sex.
yes, yes. For minor children to have this done, castration, hormone treatments, all of these sort of things.
Yeah, and Dunnington says, now, if you try to counsel that child out of it, even if they want counseling,
See?
he wants to make it illegal
Illegal.
to counsel them out of it.
Right, locking people up, that type of illegal, a crime.
Yeah. So let's see. There's that.
So yeah, let's not even deal with the parental rights issues there.
Oh, I've got the other one from Bullard. He has a bill that says if your child has any behavioral health issues
Okay.
at any time in their childhood, past or present, whenever you go to another school, you have to give parents, under threat of arrest, give all the medical records for that child's past over to those school employees, okay, to that school, to the faculty. That means if your kid's 13 years old and on the junior high football team, all of a sudden his coach could know that back when he was 7, he was still a bedwetter.
Right.
Like, how's that going to go over for a junior high kid? You let that stuff out.
Well-
And these are not HEPA-covered clinicians.
Right. I was about to dive into the HIPAA issues
Yeah.
there and health information, privacy, and,
Yeah.
and the federal laws involved in that.
And we're going to arrest parents for failure to hand over all of those private documents.
Yes, arresting parents for being responsible parents,
Yeah.
protecting their children and their
Well,
children's
yeah.
information.
And was saying, and somebody told me that Senator Bullard's wife is a school principal down in the Durant area.
So, you know, she's a warden, you mean?
Okay. So, yeah, here's the thing. It really, what it says is, parents, we don't trust your discretion about your child.
Well, they're not your children. They're the state's children.
Yeah. And it's
That's
sad because
that's the trajectory that
Bullard
public
had
education's on.
Bullard had a great session last year. I talked to him at the state Republican convention. I liked the things he said he was advocating for, like things are going, but I just saw a couple of doozies that, you know what, he'll have a chance to explain it. And I'll listen.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to hear from him. So there's that.
Our old friend Jason Lowe wanting to roll back constitutional carry, aka
Okay.
permitless carry.
Mhm.
Imagine that, the loudest voice in the room against it,
Mhm.
with his friends from the Young Democrats and Moms Demand Action.
But I thought he was a civil rights leader. Isn't that the highest honor in his ethnic community, to be a civil rights leader?
I thought he was just an attorney,
But to me,
as Aaron Brilbeck from
Yeah.
Channel 9 reminded him.
but my whole point in all this is, as a champion of civil
Civil
rights,
rights.
he's taking away civil
Right.
rights, including our Second Amendment rights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that just, to me, the irony of it.
It's very very ironic, and it's the standard play across the board for the I don't even know how you say it, the Oklahoma Legislative Black Caucus, whatever it is, encapsulating those both in the House and Senate side. I can't think of any of them that have voted affirmatively on
Yeah.
any of these bills that
But-
would expand our civil liberties.
Yeah, no, the former speaker, T.W. Shannon, was he part of the Black Caucus? I wonder if they let him in. I wonder if J.C. Watts was let in the Black Caucus at Congress back in the 90s. It's interesting.
Probably, but
Yeah.
they probably had him sit at another table.
Yeah, so, we got a couple others.
I'm just having amazing amazing visions of Liberia.
So we've got this couple of more legislators want to do over. If you remember last session, Casey, brain freeze here. My brain. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Casey Murdoch,
Okay.
from out in the Panhandle, filed a bill last year to have a do-over on 788 with a county option. That means if a county wants to no longer allow patients to get medicine or consume it in that county, they can send them back to prison
And by medicine you mean
the medical marijuana.
marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not talking about bare aspirin or Robitussin
or Xanax
or
or,
Xanax
opiates
or
or
opiates.
Ritalin or other
Yeah.
forms of meth.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what
Did you say forms of meth?
that Ritalin? It's a meth.
Yes, it is a methamphetamine.
Yeah. So why? And that went nowhere. They locked that thing up in the. I think it's in Rules Committee. But we've got two more just like it.
Yeah.
It's in different ways. In that now the Reverend Jim Olson, state representative from out in Stillwell area. Not he doesn't live there. I think he lives in Roland, but anyway, that district. He wants now no dispensaries, maybe grows as well, could be within 1,000 feet of anywhere where church service has been or is frequently or is currently being conducted. And the funny thing is, I did the Oklahoma Town Hall on marijuana policy last week. We did it in a church with a dispensary right next door. And probably one of the wealthiest Oklahomans, Dr. Robert Zellner, owns that dispensary. He's a very prominent eye doctor here. And that church loves having him next door. He spent millions of dollars building a 3-story indoor grow right there. Everything's high security. And there's we're not having a problem. But Representative Jim Olson says, no, that's not good for your church.
Well, you can't have the devil's lettuce so close to the Lord's house.
And Jesus told Peter, let me quote it.
Okay, quote it.
Upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. But if there's a dispensary within 1,000 feet, there might.
All right. Now here's my question, and not to sound like a liberal lefty on this, but when they say within 1,000 feet of a church, do they literally mean a church and only a church, or a house of worship?
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be interesting. The bills are all filed. Person can find them. It was by Representative Jim Olson. I think it's 2779, House Bill 2779. So there's that one. And I facetiously said, well, let's just amend that in committee to say no church shall be established within 1,000 feet of a dispensary or a drugstore or a hospital or a nursing home or any other place where people get medical care. Because this is medical. Okay? We're not doing rec here. We're doing medical. Every one of these people
this isn't like
has a doctor advising them. Yes, you're right. And that's the thing. To a certain group of Oklahomans, this will always be a vice.
Yes.
Always be a vice. Doesn't matter what. If somebody's on a painkiller from their last surgery, you're taking heroin. That's the equivalent of it. So, here's my problem with that. And then you got Marty Quinn from up Claremore and parts north saying every dispensary that's currently paying $2,500 a year for a license or renewal, let's hike that up to $10,000. You know what that's going to do to the cost of medicine? It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Including all these veterans families that I've been working with, and I'm helping them to care for themselves and get them off of the benzodiazepine tranquilizers that my dad was hooked on all my childhood. And you're going to increase the cost of their medicine. You're putting a burden before them. You're basically, to a lot of veterans, you're saying, you got to go back to the benzos and back on disability because you can't work when you're taking.
No.
It's hard.
Yeah, this stuff will turn you into a zombie and all sorts of side effects.
Yeah. So, these are and again, it comes from a mindset that this is a vice. And they're basically going to try to treat it like whatever our laws are for liquor, we're going to apply here.
Right.
Because in their mind, it's always going to be a vice.
And in years past, there was a concerted effort to get people to view it that way.
Sure.
And these feelings linger.
Yeah. So, anyway, those are some of the bills I had. I don't know anything else. We're going to think of a bunch as soon as we.
It was another thing involving guns or ammunition It had to do with only cities or municipalities that had at least 100,000 people in the population.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the
Yes.
specifications was.
Essentially another county option thing.
Right, another county option thing where again you're discriminating against rural versus urban,
Yeah.
and why do people out in the countryside get to have more rights than the people in the cities?
Yeah.